Hello, and welcome to another episode of Boundless Body Radio. I'm your host, Casey Ruff, and today we have another amazing guest to introduce to you now. Russ Mitchell hailed from Central Ohio, but currently resides in Jacksonville, Florida. In October of 2020, he embarked on a journey towards a ketogenic diet that has had a profound impact on his life. Inspired by numerous individuals who have shared their life stories, he reached out to one of them who encouraged him to do the same. His aspiration is to add his voice to the chorus of remarkable individuals who are making a difference, one life at a time, and he is determined to share his own story. However, he acknowledges in his own words that he can be described as, quote, certified idiot, clown, moron, or any other objective that capture his love for acting foolishly, end quote. The quotes were very important there. Those are not my words. His intention is to bring laughter, knowledge, and shed a light that can guide others on their own paths. Recently, especially through his YouTube channel, which is Homesick Buckeye, Russ has been shining that light on the ketogenic diet. His videos cover his own personal health journey and share the message of low carbohydrate nutrition in the most hilarious fashion. You can find him primarily on that YouTube channel at Homesick Buckeye. Russ Mitchell, what an absolute honor it is to welcome you to Boundless Body Radio.
Listen, brother, if it's an honor to have me on your channel, brother, you need to set your sights higher. I can tell you, it's not an honor to have me anywhere. I'm just.
Well, I can tell you right off the bat that it's the very first time in the introduction I've ever said the words idiot, clown, moron. So
Hey,
really
listen,
had to make the distinction that I didn't make that up.
hey, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. And being, hey, listen, being an idiot was an offense. They get just it'd be a capital offense. They put me under jail somewhere.
That's
I'm
amazing.
a naturally silly guy, lifelong silly guy, class clown, all of the above, man. But hey, sometimes you gotta laugh to keep from crying, Casey. So
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Well, listen, I had to laugh to keep from crying when it comes to the 2022 Rose Bowl, where my beloved Utah Utes hook your Buckeyes to the very
yeah.
last few seconds. We gave you a fight that day, my friend.
Yes, you did. We appreciate that. We like a fight every once in a while, as long as you lose in the end. That's all that matters to us.
Have you ever been to the Rose Bowl, by the way?
No, no, I've never even been to California. The furthest west I've ever been is Vegas. So
Okay,
I've
nice.
never been to California.
So there were
Yeah.
a few years there, a few years ago, where it was looking like Utah could go to the Rose Bowl, and so as a Christmas present, my wife would give me a ticket to the Rose Bowl. And both years, Utah ended up stumbling in the very last few games. But I got to go see games with other teams, and I was basically the only person in the stadium that was like cheering for every touchdown, regardless of what team it was. I didn't care who won. Dude, it is absolutely epic. It is amazing to be in the
yeah.
packed Rose Bowl to have the flyover. It is something absolutely
Yeah.
special. If you ever get a chance, it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
sure. That's not my scene. The crowds and the noise and all that stuff. That is not my scene. And not just because I'm a big guy. I mean, I was when I was half the size, it wasn't my scene. Even like clubs and stuff. I'm a country boy from the sticks of Ohio. I need to, hey, listen, they say, give me land, lots of land, need the stars rise above. Don't fence me in. Yeah, I'm that guy. So I like a little room and space. So like big crowds and all this stuff. I mean, I've been to some games and some concerts and things like that, but yeah, not generally my scene top to bottom. But oh, I'm sure it's awesome. I watch it on TV, and it looks like it's an amazing place. I'm sure.
It's pretty cool. And you know what? I have realized that about myself as well. That I'm much more of a homebody than I thought. I went to one of the
Yes.
Utah games just a few weeks ago. It was the first football game I had been back to since the pandemic, and same. It was like the energy is fun, but like you
Yeah.
have no idea what's really going on the field. You don't have the commentators, and like
Right.
it's
Right.
football. Football's nice from the couch too.
Yes, absolutely, man. You got to get your snacks and you got to go to the bathroom. It's temperature controlled. It's just the experience to me is much better, at home and that than being at the game. Like I said, I do go to some concerts and things like that here and there. That's a little different. Like live music is a little different, but yeah, generally speaking, not my scene. But I will do it
Yeah.
from time to time.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the Rose Bowl was amazing. We've already been treated to one song already in this episode. You do amazing content. I absolutely love it. I had to ask you, had to ask you about your bacon song. That was amazing.
Well, listen, it's funny, that I got a million of them, but YouTube is weird about copyright stuff, and I've got to find a way to do it, but I come up with goofy parody songs all the time, silly things. Which one are you talking about? That There Goes My Bacon? Is that
It
the
was
There
bacon
Goes
for
My
breakfast, and you were going to have a
Baby?
pound, or maybe yeah. There you go.
Yes, 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 yeah. Well, that's actually an Usher song. I don't know if you're familiar with Usher.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
familiar with him, not the song. It's funny.
yeah, but he has a song called "There Goes My Baby." There goes my baby. And so I just substituted, there goes my bacon. And so I didn't. It wasn't original. It actually was stealing his song. But all of my songs, like even the chicken wing, whoa, whoa, chicken wings, don't you know they're my favorite thing? That's Shaka Khan, sweet thing. She had a song called "Oh, oh, Sweet Thing, Don't You Know You're My Everything." So I just take those little songs that actually, and I do it on the fly. Somebody said that to me I do my show, the Keto Cookout, every Tuesday night with Adam Lacey and Alia Wells. It's a live show we do. We bring on guests and all that kind of stuff. And somebody did that. Somebody was like, "I love chicken wings," and it just hit me. Oh, oh, chicken wings. I've got a like I said, a hundred like that. I don't know if you know that old Luther song. Never too much. 1,000 kisses from you is never too. I had, it's like, oh, keto, oh, oh, oh. 1,000 briskets from you is never too much. It's like, and I just don't want to stop. Oh, keto, oh, oh, oh. 1,000, 1,000,000 eggs from your farm is never too much. So I do silly stuff, but you got to be careful, like I said, on YouTube, because they flag you for copyright, even parodies, even stuff. I did a song, the parody of God Bless the Broken Road. That's an old Rascal Flats. Every donut shop led me to where you are. Every ice cream cone, every Snickers bar pointed me on my way into your low carb arms. This much I know is true, that God bless that keto road that led me straight to you. Well, they flagged that. They flagged it for copyright and all that. So it's just, you got to be careful with that. So I got to find a way to do some of that and duck the flags, because if you get too many flags and stuff, then you get in trouble. And I don't want my channel taken down, because people ask me, why haven't you done more, song parodies and stuff? I'm like, yeah, because they flagged me and warned me. And I'm like, you get too many warnings. Next thing you know, there's no more Homesick Buckeye channel.
That's right. That's right. Well, maybe a better strategy is just to send these songs to the artists themselves, because they'll think like, wow, this guy wrote it better than I ever did. Usher would be like, I'm changing my song to Bacon now. This is a way better version.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, I can't believe the Rascal Flats would be like, oh, take that down. It's like, well, of course, I don't know who wrote the song. They actually performed the song. I don't think they wrote it, but still, I can't imagine the writer. And I thought parodies were kind of covered under, but again, it's not about what's legal or illegal. It's about what YouTube lets you do and what they don't let you do.
Right. Exactly right. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. I'm glad you bring humor to all kinds of these situations. It really makes the watching enjoyable. And like we were talking offline, all of us have a role in this space, and to help communicate that message of what's most important. On the more serious note, you have had some serious health issues in your life. You do a really good job on your YouTube channel with the series where you kind of explain what happened in your life. Can you tell us like what your life has been like and the struggles you've gone through?
That's not, again, it's your show, but that's not exactly true. I never had any health issues. I've never spent a night in the hospital. I've never taken a medication other than antibiotic. I was just heavy. I couldn't support my weight. I couldn't stand long enough to scramble an egg. I couldn't stand long enough to shave. I used to take my cell phone with me, to take my trash to the curb, because I wasn't sure I could make it back in the house. But even at 500 pounds, my A1C is 5. My fasting wow. My fasting glucose is 96.
Very metabolically healthy.
Well, my fasting insulin is very high. My fasting insulin is 23. It should be about 6.
Okay.
That part of it isn't good, but I didn't have any aches or pains or sleep problems or I was just I was carrying two NFL linebackers and their dog with me everywhere I went. I mean, that's
Wow.
basically my life. So I couldn't support my weight. That was my problem. And it's, I had the answer 20 years before because I'd done Atkins, or I'd heard of Atkins, I should say, in the early 2000s. But like most people, I poo-pooed it as just garbage, just a fad, quick weight loss thing that was going to trade short-term weight loss for long-term health. It's going to clog your arteries and you're going to have strokes and all that. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to be 550 pounds and have heart problems, and be, stroke and all that stuff. So I did what they've always taught us to do: lean meats, fruits and vegetables, grains, and I just, it got worse and worse and worse. And, I finally got to a place where literally I said, I don't care anymore. I'm going to die anyway. So who cares if I die of a heart attack or a stroke? They're going to find me here in this house. I live in a custom built house that I built for myself because I outgrew my old house. I couldn't fit in the bathrooms. I mean, the walls were closing in on me. I mean, I was uncomfortable in my house. So my house is built for a 500-pound guy. Everything is bigger and
Wow.
wider and more open. And, that was my life. And I was trying. People didn't know, I didn't talk about it. I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that brings my problems to people. I'm the guy people bring their problems to. I bring the funny with me when I show up. I don't whine and complain. So I was trying, but at 500 plus pounds, there's only so much exercise you can really do. And I didn't realize that my body was fighting me. I was trying to lose weight. It was trying to put on weight because I didn't understand physiology. I didn't understand how your body processes energy. And I thought I knew, but I didn't. And shout out to Dr. Barry and Ben Bickman, who changed my life, probably saved my life. Dr. Barry, I started out looking, I was Googling. I went to the vegan and vegetarian websites because I actually went vegetarian for a little while trying to just find an answer. And I went to when I decided I was gonna do, low carb or whatever, keto or Atkins, whatever, because that's all I knew really was Atkins. I went to the vegan and vegetarian websites looking to see, how bad is it? I know this is going to kill me, but how bad does it really get? What can I expect? And I really didn't find anything that I didn't know already, the typical stuff. This stuff will kill you, clog your arteries, blah, blah, blah. Well, I already knew that. Then I flipped and went to the, keto, low carb, whatever side, Atkins side, and found a lot of different information. And I came across some guys that, I won't mention any names, but they were kind of used car salesmen to me. And I just didn't connect with them. And then I saw Dr. Ken Berry. And that dude, buddy, he puts it down there where the chickens can get it, man. And he's country as a cornfield. And I just connected with him because I'm a, kind of a country kid myself. And I just really, and he wasn't trying to sell me anything. And he wasn't trying to get me in his coaching program or get me on his, supplements or, I mean, he was just laying it out there. And he talked about himself and his, as a doctor and he wrote that book, of course, Lies My Doctor Told Me. And he just went into all that and it just really connected. And then I saw Ben Bickman talking about metabolic health and ketosis in a way that I'd never heard it before. And it really connected with me. And I knew after I listened to him, ketosis is my way out. Ketosis is my answer. That's it. That's my ticket out of this prison. And if I can just get to ketosis, I'm home free.
Wow.
And so I started a plan. And my first initial thought was, well, I could starve myself and be in ketosis probably in a couple of days. But then I stopped. I was like, wait, first of all, I may only have one shot at this. I mean, I'm 550 pounds and I can't even get to the end of my driveway. So this has gotta work, and it's gotta work the first time. I said, so, and I don't want ketosis to be my starting point. I want ketosis to be my finish line.
Mm.
So I'm going to start today and I'm going to just work on getting things out of my life. Um, and when I get done fighting all these battles, I'll be in ketosis and then I'll be good because, by that time I have fought all my battles and I've, won all my victories. And now I can spend the rest of my life or 90% of the rest of my life, because I kind of have a 90-10 philosophy, in ketosis, and I'm good. And so I started doing that. And what I thought would take me a few months actually took me almost a year, but a little less than a year later, um, I got into ketosis for the first time, May 22nd, 2023. And from there, it's been kind of pretty much easy peasy.
That's amazing. Wow, good for you. You mentioned something that I'm always very curious about, which is the tendency that we have to judge people who we see as big, and we think lazy. That
Oh,
person
yeah. Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
care. They're lazy. They're not
Yeah.
trying. If only they just ate more carrots and less cake, they'd
Yeah.
be fine. How do they not know? Take us into the mentality of what you're thinking when you're in the middle of all this, and like literally you're following the advice, you're doing the best things. Like, it was not for lack of trying,
Yeah.
correct? Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
tried.
You're absolutely right. I don't know that I'm the best person to talk about that, but I'll certainly share my story with you. I was a happy fat guy into my 40s. Um, Being a big guy was something I embraced and I owned. I don't know, maybe call it a defense mechanism. I don't know, but I was big from a kid. My weight problem started when I was 8 years old. And so by the time I got to high school and that, I was fatso and this and that, but I was quick witted and I was ruthless. And so if you made fun of me, I was coming for you, and I'd talk about your mama, your uncle, but I was that dude, and so you get teased and stuff like that. But then when you get out of high school and you go into the adult world, now you're not fatso and roly poly anymore. You're big guy, big man, big dog. I mean, and I was a social guy. I could sing, I was funny, all that kind of stuff. I had no problem socially. I mean, with the women and girls and stuff like that. Girls like me. I was active social life. I was funny and fun to be around. And I was that dude. I was everybody's favorite big guy. I was on the company softball team. I played sports and stuff in high school, and I had big dog on the back of my shirt, and it was a different life. And so I embraced it. I was Papi Grande, man. Come get it. So it wasn't until so there was some carelessness in there. I'm not going to say that it was all, there was some carelessness in there, not really being concerned about my weight like I should. But then when I got into my early and mid 40s, I had some problems. I fell and hurt myself. And then I was laid up for a little bit and I started putting on more and more weight, and it just kind of started a downward spiral. And I was probably, I mean, I'm 54 now. I was probably about 45 when I realized I got a problem. I got to work on this. And so over that, time is when I really started trying different things and diets and exercising. And like I said, nothing was working. So from that time, for the first 45 years of my life, I really wasn't trying to lose any weight. I can honestly say I was comfortable being a big guy. I've been big my whole life. I was, that was kind of my identity. From 45 up until now is when I've really concentrated on trying to lose weight and that. And so during those years, yes, people think, oh, you're lazy, oh, you're not disciplined, you just need to eat less and work out more. And as Dr. Bickman said, and I'm telling you, when he said it, I felt like he was looking right at me. He said, eating less and working out more is a recipe for hunger. And hunger always wins. I was like, yes, that's right. That's right, Dr. Bickman. Yes, I agree with that because he's exactly right. I was eating fruit and lean meats and vegetables and grains, and I was hungry all the time. And you can exercise from morning to night. You can't out exercise 500 carbs a day. You just can't do it. And then, of course, we know about that part of it. We don't burn calories. We metabolize proteins and fats and ketones. So yeah, it's like you can only, unless you're an Olympic athlete, you can only burn so much, glucose a day in your average life. And when you're eating all those grains and fruits and vegetables and all those things, yeah, it's just you can't burn it. So your body stores it. And you're wondering why I'm hungry all the time, why I'm not losing any weight. In fact, I'm gaining weight. Now, I hadn't weighed myself for 30 years. I might add that too.
Okay.
I weighed myself, I was 319 pounds in 1993. And I didn't weigh myself for 30 years after that.
Wow.
And I mean, I just didn't feel a need to. It's funny story. In I don't know what year that was, maybe 2010. I had strep throat, and I went into the doctor to get some medication, and the lady asked me to step on the scale, and I looked at that scale and I just laughed because I'm like, listen, it's 2010. I was 319 pounds in 1993. So it's 2010, and I know I'm north of 350. The scale only went to 350. So I got on the scale, and it was like one of those old scales with the metal thing in the middle.
Yeah.
So the thing, I mean, boom, it goes right to the top as soon as I step on the scale. And she's fiddling with that little thing, trying to and I'm just standing there. And she says to me, well, the scale only goes up to 350 pounds. How much do you think you weigh? You know what I said? 351.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
And she looked at me and she said, we'll just go with that. She wrote 351 on the paper. But that was the last time, before that, I tried to weigh. Now, I tried to weigh myself around January of 2023, maybe February or so. And I bought a 500-pound scale, and I got on it, and it said error. And I got back off of it, got back on it, and it said, I told you error, dummy. No, it didn't say that. But it said error. And I'm like, okay, so I'm north of 500. I know that. And so I got a 700-pound scale limit. And when I got it, it was like April. And I didn't open it. I didn't weigh myself until May the 22nd when I got in ketosis. I decided to weigh myself. So yeah, and I found out at that time I was 548 pounds. And I know I was heavier because, again, I had been battling to get to ketosis for almost a year. So and I know I weighed more than 548. I was down somewhat, over that time, over that span. I was cutting things out of my diet, and I was feeling a little better. And so I'm pretty sure I was definitely north of 550 because I was in ketosis when I weighed 548. So I'm sure that I weighed more than that before I got to ketosis. But
yeah, that's very interesting. I'm really curious. Why do you think it took you so long to get into ketosis? I would think it would be pretty rapid unless you did a very, very gradual kind of getting rid of some of the stuff you shouldn't have.
Yeah, because it's just a testament to I don't know what I guess you'd call it who I am. I say all the time I'm an odd bird. I'm a creature of comfort. I'm a creature of habit. I have my routines and my norms and my rituals and my life. And it's very, very difficult for me to change those things. It's like trying to turn around a cruise liner. I mean, that's the best way I can do it. So my mind just works differently. I was talking with, I don't know if you know Two Crazy Ketos, but I was talking with Rachel one time about that. And I was like, the way my mind works, like, for instance, when I go to Longhorn Steakhouse or any restaurant for that matter, I always have the same thing. I've been to Longhorn Steakhouse probably 100 times in my life. I don't even know what else they have on the menu. I get the outlaw ribeye medium with, I used to get, potato and broccoli. Now I get double broccoli. Um, and, I used to get Sprite. Now I get water. But that's all I've ever ordered from there. I've never had anything else. And here's how my mind works. If I go in there and I get that and I order that and they're like, oh, we're out of broccoli today. You want something else? I'm like, okay. What do you got? Well, we got asparagus. Okay, I'll have asparagus. It can be the best asparagus I've ever had in my life. Delicious. Next time I go in, what do you think I'm going to order?
Broccoli.
Damn right. Because that's what I do. That's across my life. I'm into harness racing. I've owned racehorses for 25 years. And when I lived in Columbus, Ohio, the track in Columbus, Ohio, Souder Downs is only open from May to September. It's a circuit that we go, and it goes into Dayton and it goes up. I sat in the same spot at that track every night, every Saturday night from May to September for probably the better part of 15 years.
Wow.
Now, funny story. A guy came up one night. I was sitting there on a Saturday night in my spot that I'd been sitting at for a decade. And a guy tapped me on the shoulder that I hadn't seen probably in 4 years. And I turn around. His name is Brad Finley. Shout out to Brad if he's watching or listening. I turn around and I see Brad. And Brad, you know what Brad said to me? He said, I told my wife when I left the house, you'd be right here. Okay, that's me. So when it comes to what I eat, how I live, that's me. So to change those things is very difficult. It's like a gravitational pull, But because of that, I knew that once I changed my life and changed my norms and changed my routines and habits and normals, now it works the other way. Now my life is, every morning, bacon, eggs, and coffee. If I'm, first of all, I don't cheat. That's part of my, there's no such thing as, I've changed my life. I live my life. I don't cheat. I'm not on a diet. I'm not on a program. I have changed my life. I live a certain way now. Now, if I'm out of my normal, if I'm deviating from my normal, and I have a donut or a pastry for breakfast, I'm thinking about steak and eggs. Because that's my normal. When I'm out to dinner, if I have some pizza, I'm thinking about steak or lamb or salmon or ground beef, because this is not my normal. And it's like a gravitational pull. And I was having a talk with another friend of mine. I don't know if you know Kip Moore, Carnivore Kip. He's a real good dude, got a good channel. He's got a smoker the size of a semi-truck.
There we go.
But he's just the opposite of me. He went on a 4-day bender not too long ago. We were laughing about it. He came on our show and talked about it. But he's lost a bunch of weight. He's lost over 100 pounds. Just a good guy. And when he was eating his ice cream or something he was talking about eating, he was thinking about pizza the next night. He was thinking about hamburgers the day after that and donuts the day after that. And I'm just the opposite. When I'm eating something that's not in my normal, I'm thinking about getting back to my normal. I was gone home to Keto Palooza, and I was up in North Carolina for a few days. Let me tell you what, I don't like to be away from home for more than a few days. I'm ready to go home. If I'm out somewhere, I see my family like 2 or 3 days, I'm ready to go home because I'm out of sorts. I don't have my life. I don't have my routine, my normals. It's just, it disturbs me. It makes me homicidal. I'm ready to go home. And I've never been happier in my life to have bacon, eggs, and coffee than when I came home. Wow. So that's why it took me so long, because when I was trying to kick, and there's a lot of stuff, man. I made a list of everything, and the bread and the pasta and the sugars and the fruit and the this and the that and that. I can't fight all those battles at once. I can't. Other people are maybe stronger than me. I'm like, okay, we're going to start with what I think is easiest. We start with fruit and have fruit juice. Then we'll move on to the next thing. Well, again, my normals at that time were standard American diet, everything wrong. And I'd be fine for a couple of days and I'd go back to my normal, and I'd be steak and eggs for a couple of days. Then I'm back to my normal. And it was a constant battle and struggle for me trying to literally turn this cruise liner around. And I thought it would be a few months, but it just took longer. And then when I thought I had something beat, it would maybe sneak back up on me or whatever. It was just, but I had to keep doing it. I had to keep going. I was never going to quit. I was never going to give up because, again, I knew once I get this to be my normal and it's burned into me and who I am, I won't go back.
Yeah.
It'll be easy once
Yeah.
I do this tough part. And it has been. Now it's easy peasy because the fats and the proteins are my normal. That's my life now.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's how my mind works. And I know it's different than a lot of people. I'm not a
Well,
band,
no,
you know.
it's very interesting, and I love your perspective. And there were tons of like really practical tips and tricks in there. And I've just been reflecting recently, based on a question I got on YouTube on one of my videos, where somebody just they liked keto, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't pull it off. They weren't able to complete it. And I've just been pondering a lot lately, like what is the difference between people that succeed and people that end up failing and don't end up working for themselves? Like, what would you tell somebody that's like, yeah, I tried keto, I couldn't do it, couldn't do it.
The first thing I would have to say is, and I think this is very important. I'm not a psychologist, but I'll pretend to be one here. You have to know yourself. I think that's the psychological aspect of behavioral, whether it's trying to quit smoking or lose it. Listen, if I was a smoker and I wanted to quit smoking, I would need the patch, the gum, the patch again, a hypnotist, a seance, a witch doctor, the patch, the gum, and I could get there eventually. And I know a guy that I worked with for years that smoked 2 packs a day. Just one day came into work and said, I ain't smoking no more.
Wow.
And he didn't. And it's funny because I've talked about this on my show and I've talked with this about so many people because I'm a dirty carnivore at best. I don't even like to use those terms: carnivore, keto, dirty this, dirty that. I'm a carb number guy. I talk about my carb number. When I do my evangelism, you wouldn't be surprised how many people don't even know what a carnivore is. And they damn sure don't know what a ketovore is. You know what I mean? But they know numbers. And everything in our life, in our health, is numbers: blood pressure, weight, glucose, insulin, all of it, it's all numbers. So when you tell somebody, hey, what's your carb number? How many carbs you eat in a day? 93% of them say, I have no idea. And so then you start explaining to them, hey, what it means, why you want to keep it here, and then blah, 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 blah. And then maybe a couple of weeks later, they come back to you and they say, you know what? I ate 350 carbs yesterday. Now you got them. Because now, okay, great. Let's try to do 325 tomorrow. Let's try to get that number down. But to answer your question, first thing you got to know is yourself. How does your mind work? How do you process information? And then rig the game so you can win. I could have, listen, people lose weight on Weight Watchers and these other things. I could never, ever in life, ever make it on Nutrisystem or one of those systems where you got to count points and eat these little TV dinners. No shot. So why would I even try that? I know who I am. I know what I am. I know how my mind works. And I don't have to play the game on advanced mode. I can play it on easy mode. So set the game up so you can win. Okay? So if you know who you are, know yourself, understand yourself, put together a program, put together a plan that puts you on a road to success and stay on that road. And like I said, because I know myself, I know I'm a creature of habit, a creature of comfort, a creature of norms. I had to, and I don't do well with big, rapid changes in my life. I don't do well with it. I'm going to revert back to what I know and what I'm comfortable with and what I've been doing. I have to just change incrementally. Because if I go in there and say, hey, I'm going to throw all this stuff out of the house and I'm going to eat nothing but meat and water, man, that'll last me maybe 48 hours and I'll be a Golden Corral face down in the mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't now. I run in a circle with a lot of Band-Aid rippers. That's what I call them. The people who just rip the Band-Aid off. The cold turkey people. Okay. I'm a hot turkey guy. Okay. I ain't cold turkey enough. Right? But these people do things cold turkey. it works for them. And I think a lot of the carnivore types, they're that type of person mentally. Most of them are Band-Aid rippers. I'm not a Band-Aid ripper. So I think if you're starting any diet program and again, I don't even believe in that. I just say that for the sake of what we're talking about. First, to me, you got to change your life. If you look at it as a diet, you're going to look at it as something temporary, something transitory, something, well, I'm doing it for now. That wasn't my goal going into it. I wanted to change my life. I wanted to be in ketosis for 90% of the rest of my life. And I knew I had to make big life changes to do that. And I couldn't do that all at one time. It's too big a fight. So I had to pick a lot of little fights and just keep winning those. And all the little changes became a big change. So that's what I would say to people. First and foremost, look at yourself, look in the mirror and know, who am I? How do I process information? How do I work through things? How do I handle adversity? How do I handle challenges? And then from there, put yourself in a position to win. Move the target closer to you. I don't do long-term goals, for instance. People ask me all the time, what's your target weight? I don't have a target weight. My weight is whatever it's going to be. I'm living my life. I've changed my life. I'm living my life. As a result of the life changes I've made, I will lose weight. You can't keep on weight eating 100 carbs a week. It just doesn't work like that. So that's my only goal, is to eat 100 carbs a week, 10, 15 a day. That's my only goal. Win today. The rest will take care of itself, because in the mind of Russ Mitchell, and again, I'm a weirdo. In the mind of Russ Mitchell, if I said, hey, I want to be 200 pounds, well, that's a one-time goal, long-term goal. I can only hit that goal one time. I can fail to hit that goal 1,000 times.
Mm.
And every day when I get up and I get on the scale, which, by the way, I only weigh myself once a month, but that's a story for a different time. But if I get up and I look at the scale, even if now I'm 550 pounds, I look at the scale and I'm down to 542. Now, a sane person will be like, oh, that's great, 8 pounds closer to my goal. And the insane person like me says, 8 pounds? Are you kidding me? You can find them by the end of the week. That's you're never going to get there. Are you kidding me? You're a loser. You're a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because I know that about myself, because I know how my mind works, because I understand the mind of Russ Mitchell, I can't set myself up to lose, set myself up for failure by putting that long-term goal. It's too far away. It's too far in the future. I'm going to fail 1,000 times before I hit it once. So I have to set the game up to win. I have to say, today, I'm not going to eat more than 15 carbs. Now that's a goal. I can win that today. And I can do it again tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And next, I've won 10 games in a row.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's again, but if I didn't know that about myself and understand that about myself, I could be setting myself up for failure.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yes, it's fantastic advice for people. And knowing that you have a long-term goal, that doesn't tell you anything about how to actually get there. It's like saying I want to win the Rose Bowl in 2022 against Ohio State. Well, great. Of course we want to win, but the winning comes by making the blocks and the tackles and the fundamentals on every single play. You have a goal for that one play that then sets you up for the next one and the next one and the next one. The more you get caught up in the outcome, you forget the process, and you're going to get lost. So that's wonderful advice. What a great way to shift your mindset. You mentioned
if that works for you. I mean, again, you have to, in order for that to work, you have to have a certain kind of mindset. It's like this key opens a certain lock. It doesn't make, if you're a Band-Aid ripper, that's probably not going to work for you. If you have a different mindset and a mentality, that key doesn't open your lock. I mean, to me, I don't know.
Yeah. Well said.
Opinion. Yeah.
Well said. I really enjoy that. And again, we come across so many people who say I can't do this. I can't do this way of eating. And by transitioning over the course of a year, that's a long year. But in the hindsight, it was a short year. And look where you
Yeah.
are now. Very
Yeah.
curious. I know you said there were a lot of small changes that added up to big changes, but I want to go to the day that you entered into ketosis. Was there anything particularly noticeable on that day in particular? Did you feel different? Were you
Oh, that's
like?
funny. Funny you should answer that. I never felt bad in the first place. That was part of maybe my downfall of being a happy big guy. I didn't have aches and pains and sleep problems and things. Like I said, I was just heavy. But I have a meter, like a breathalyzer keto meter. And when I got to around April 2023, I knew I was close because I was just down to eating starchy, high carb vegetables and some starchy things. And so I knew, I'm like, hey, I'm getting close here. If I can just get over this last hurdle, I know I can get to ketosis. And so I was doing my thing. But over the course of that time, I did feel a little better. I'm sure I lost a few pounds. Um, I wasn't retaining as much water. I think, just little things like that I felt just felt better because by that time I was off of sugar, I was off of bread, I was off of pasta, I was off of grains. Yeah, I mean, I was off of a lot of stuff. I was still eating nuts and seeds and a lot of potatoes and things like that. I mean, I still was, I was still taking in too many carbs, but they were whole food carbs. I wasn't eating the processed foods and the fast foods and the junk foods anymore, not with any regularity, just here and there. So, I was feeling a little better. And I was excited too, because I knew I was getting closer. It had been a lot longer, harder road than I thought it would be. I thought it would be 3 or 4 months. I really did. Just knowing myself, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a few months. I don't see myself doing this in less than 90 days. Just knowing my mind and how my mind works, but I'll do it eventually. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. You'll get there. Um, and that's how I just kind of encouraged myself and kept myself in the game. But then I just would stumble and fall, but I'd get back up and I'd stumble. And I just kept stumbling and falling. Next thing I know, it was 6 months, and I'm like, but here's the thing. I wasn't looking at where I was going as much as where I had been.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm still eating 200 carbs a day, but I was eating 500 6 months ago. And that's real, dude. I mean, I was eating 500 to 700. Man, I was drinking 300 carbs a day.
Wow.
It doesn't take much to do that.
Yeah, it's true.
A couple of a few sweet teas and a couple of sodas. It doesn't take hard. I believe this. Most people drink more carbs than they eat, Casey.
Mm.
If you look at the average person, think about this. You go to a steakhouse, you get a steak, you get some vegetables, a potato. That's, maybe 60, 70 carbs. I guarantee you there's more carbs than that in your soda because you knock down 3 or 4 of them. They bring the free refills. You drink 200 carbs.
That's a good point.
No, seriously. I mean,
With
if you sit down and have scrambled eggs and, like I said, or like here's an even better one. A lot of people don't know this. You go to McDonald's, you have a double quarter pounder with cheese. That's 45 carbs. The large fry is 80. The large drink is 80. And you ain't even got to the apple pie yet.
Yeah.
That drink has almost twice the carbs of the sandwich. So if you just go to McDonald's and have a double quarter pounder with cheese and you have a bottle of water with you, that's 45 carbs. That's a misdemeanor on the scale of the carb crime scale. You can overcome 45 carbs. Are you kidding me? Some people won't even knock them out of ketosis.
Yeah, true. Good point.
But when you put the other 200 carbs on top of it with the fries and the drink, that's what gets you. And it's no different with your other thing. A large pizza's probably got 250 carbs, but the 6-pack of Cokes you drink with it has 350.
Yeah. Yep. And at the very least, with the burger and the pizza or the steak with the potato, you might get a little bit satiated. It might be full for a little while. The soda adds nothing. You could pour it right on top. It adds nothing.
Absolutely. And like I said, I could easily drink 500 carbs in a day.
Wow.
That ain't a hard on a football Saturday. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I start watching at noon, and I'm watching the late game at 11 o'clock. I'm watching, Utah State versus somebody out kind of from Oregon State. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm on my seventh Coke.
Dude, staggering. It's staggering. Yeah, it's staggering.
Absolutely. So the understanding that is a big part of health. I would say most people, if they just stop drinking sugary drinks, if they just say, you know what, I'll eat all the donuts I want, I'll eat all the cupcakes I want, but I'm drinking water or diet soda, they probably cut their carbs in half.
Yeah. Challenging. It's not easy. People love their soda. It's hard, but it is possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I might have deviated from your question. I'm sorry if I.
No, it was awesome. No, it was great. So I told you that I was at the Symposium for Metabolic Health in San Diego off the air. Our mutual friend, Dr. Tony Hampton, took the stage.
Yep.
Dude, that man is amazing. Ben Bickman's amazing. Tony Hampton is amazing. Ken Berry's amazing. Like, all these guys are awesome. But he plays this like classical song. If he walks on the stage, everybody cheers. And during this presentation, which was amazing, he makes everybody get out their phones to follow you. He like waited on stage to tell people, open up your phone. I'll wait for you. Go ahead, subscribe to Russ's channel. So I wonder if there was a day in August where you got a nice little boost in subscribers. I subscribed right on the minute.
Yes. Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't look at that so much, but yes, I did. And I appreciate him doing that. He's a good friend, and he really appreciates the way I go about it. For him as a doctor who's dealing every day with patients who are struggling or this or that or the other, he just likes the way I go about it. I'm not super strict. I'm silly and kind of funny with it. And he just thinks it's a good mix for his patients. Other channels are strict and kind of preachy and kind of, just they have a little different tone. And so he's like, man, I tell my folks to go to your channel, and because you present it with humor and songs and different things, and you don't beat yourself up, and you talk about how you've made it part of your life. It's not just a diet; it's a life change that you've made. And I talk about eating pizza and hamburgers and White Castles, and I mean I talk about that stuff because that's real life. I talk about Thanksgiving dinner and family functions, and I have a 90-10 philosophy. It's like 329 days a year. I'm on point here. The other 30 whatever plus days, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But those 10% days can't derail your 90%. Can't do it. If you are doing what you're supposed to be doing 9 out of 10 days, you'll be just fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
And that's the goal, because for me, and again, I respect all different views, and some people can't do it the way I do it. It doesn't work for them. And I get that because I can't do it the way other people do it. I'm just here to share my life, share my story, show people a way that I'm doing it. I live my life in the open. You can judge me on my results. I'm down almost 50 pounds. I'm living my best life. Could I be down 100 pounds? Probably, if I did it a different way. But if I did it that way, maybe I wouldn't be doing it at all.
That's right.
Maybe I'd have crashed and burned. Because for me, it's more important to sustain it. I did an interview on my show with a guy named Todd Bockness. Incredible story, incredible guy. He lost 300 pounds twice in his life.
That's amazing.
And gained it back. Oh. Because he was doing things he couldn't sustain. And I asked him, like, how do you survive that? I don't think I could survive that. He's like, yeah. He said it was tough. He said every day I would wake up and say, is this the day I can't do this anymore? Is this the day I crash and burn? Because I can't live like this for the rest of my life. And that was so important to me. I would rather lose 50 pounds and never lose another pound and keep it off the rest of my life than to lose 200 pounds and gain 150 back.
Yeah, good point.
Now that's me. Other people may see it differently. But either way, so, well, you're down 50 pounds. Yeah, but one is torture. I don't torture myself. This is easy. I mean, yeah, the first part of it was difficult. just change because of my handicaps mentally and how tough it is for me to just deviate from my normals. Okay, fine. But I pushed through that. I'm good. And I had to. But now I'm at a place where this is easy peasy. I don't have a care in the world. I live my life. I wake up, I have my routines. I drink my coffee with my bacon and eggs, and I get hungry. I have a little snack, some egg salad or whatever, some hot dogs, this and that, other for dinner, make a steak, some salmon, some lamb, some ground beef, whatever, and wake up and do it again the next day. If I'm out on the road or something, yeah, I'll have a hamburger. But guess what? I have a bottle of water that I carry with me.
Perfect.
I don't have the fries and that. It's minimizing the damages. So
Yep.
because I understand that 45 carbs, that ain't no big deal.
Yeah.
I can survive that. I can beat that. I can't beat 200.
Yep. Good point.
I mean? So I live my life. When my family comes and they bake cookies, I have a couple. I don't care. It's like I live my life because my family isn't here every day. They're not even here every month. Thanksgiving Day is coming up. I'm getting it in. I'm eating pumpkin pie. I love my family. I love the time. I'm not going to be sitting around there mean mugging everybody, nibbling on a turkey. I'm going to eat like everybody else eats. And I don't care. I'll tell you a funny story. On the way back from Keto Orlando, it was 1:00 in the morning. I was on my way home and I stopped at Taco Bell and had a burrito and a sweet tea on the way home from a ketogenic summit. All right.
Do you want me to edit this out?
No, because this is real life, man. This is real life. I keep it real. The good, the bad, the ugly. You get it all. I want people to see this is real life. And I laughed about it because I thought it was hilarious. I got a burrito and a sweet tea. I looked it up. I think it was like 80 carbs or something like that, whatever, something like that. I didn't get the large. I got the large. And I talked about it on my show because we have my show. We do when we open the show, we do a goofy health check, scurvy, heart attacks, because all the things they tell you that you're going to get when you live this way. And then we have a contest of sorts. What's your highest carb since the last show? And the host, we go around and we all see who did what over the last week. And so I'm like, well, I had a burrito and a sweet tea on the way back home from the keto summit. And they're like, you did it? Yeah, it's exactly. I didn't even, and I'm like, it was 1:00 in the morning. I was hungry. I had a 2.5-hour drive home. I wasn't going to be hungry for 2.5 hours. That wasn't going to work. I stopped. I had a burrito and a sweet tea. And they're like, well, did you feel bad? I said, yeah, I wanted 2 burritos, but I only got one. So I felt bad that I didn't get 2. Now, at that time, I lost 30. I was down 35 pounds at the time. And I'm like, hey, I've lost 35 pounds. I'm feeling great. That burrito and sweet tea isn't going to derail my 35-pound weight loss. I said, and when I lose another 35 pounds, I'm going to go back to that same restaurant. I'm going to get 2 burritos and 2 sweet teas, and one for every 35 pounds I lose. And everybody starts. But to me, this is our life. I'm not a machine. I'm not a robot. You can't program me to eat this and eat that. I've got to live. And I have to know how to minimize and manage my carbohydrate intake. That's, to me, is what ketogenic living is about. For some, maybe it's elimination. It ain't elimination. You cannot outrun the donut. They're everywhere. They're in donut stops. They're in grocery stores. They're in drug stores. They're in convenience stores. They're everywhere. Donuts are everywhere. Okay? But like I said, having knowledge, understanding. Okay, that sandwich has 40 carbs. The fries and the drink have almost 200 between them. I'm not having the fries and the drink. I'll just have the sandwich and some water. That's management.
Cool.
You have to live in this world, and you have to, there's always going to be something in your face, some challenge, something you want to eat or whatever. It's not realistic to think that you can be perfect.
Yeah.
Progress over perfection. You can't always be perfect. You can't ever be perfect. You can always make progress.
Dude, I love that. That's amazing. It's just such wonderful content you put out, and something that occurs to me that Tony and I talked about when I host him on our show is, I can say the same things that you say, but I'm a dopey white dude in Utah. You know what I mean? The way Tony says things, it helps his community and builds trust in that way. How does it feel for you to be able to do the same thing?
Hey, I'm just me. I don't think about it in that way. I just share my life. It doesn't really, like we talked about a little bit before. I get emails, I get messages, I see people in real life, and I'll never get used to people telling me that I help them or that I inspire them. Um, because that's not exactly what I wanted to do. I just wanted to have a silly, funny website and shine the light on the doctors. Shine the light on. If you go to my channel, you'll see that my videos are after the featured websites: Hampton, Barry, the two Crazy Ketos, Chafee. You got to go past them to get to me. And that's exactly how I want it. I'm just a dummy on the internet that sings goofy songs and does silly characters. I still look like the before and after picture. Okay. But these guys have these are people who can change your life. And these are people who have, you know, knowledge and information and are educated, and they can give you the real deal. Maybe I can, I can lead you to them with a goofy song or a silly, thing. And hey, if you have the information and you're just having a bad day, or you just want to see somebody ruin some perfectly good food, you can watch me cook something. I mean, whatever I can do. Listen, I never ever wanted to cook anything on my channel. I said, when I first started my channel, I said, there's two things I'm never going to do. One is cook and eat anything, and two is exercise. You ain't going to see me grunting and sweating on the internet. It ain't happening. Okay. Well, one I've kept, and I ain't doing that. But the other one, I cook because people want me to do it. I get so many messages. What do you eat? What do you eat? What do you cook? What do you cook? And I'm like, you have to have some type of messed up life to want to watch me cook anything on television. What kind of God help you if you get any kind of joy out of watching me cook things? I just can't imagine it. But people come up to me and they say, "Oh," and it's kind of a backhanded compliment, I guess, in a way. And I kind of get it now. They'll say, "I'm a terrible cook, but when I watch you, I don't feel so bad." So which is I guess their way of saying, at least I ain't as bad as you. But I love it.
That's amazing.
I'm a man of the people. If it helps you, I am all for it. I've had other people say, you know what I like most about your cooking? You don't use very many ingredients. All these other shows I watch, they got all this different stuff, and you just have like meat, heat, and some salt and some seasoned salt. I love it. I'm like, whatever. I say it all the time. I am a half a step above. I have meat and heat. The only difference between me and a caveman is he had fire and I've got a pressure cooker. I'm literally one step ahead of a caveman when it comes to cooking. And I can say my food that I make, it looks terrible. It tastes good though. I've gotten to the point where at least my food tastes pretty good, although it looks terrible. I don't care about presentation. I don't care about the cut. No, no, no. Does it taste good? There's nobody here but me. So yes, I can tell you, no matter how bad it may look, it does taste good, and I've gotten myself to where, I can at least make good tasting stuff, even if it looks like a fourth grader made it.
Hey, it looks good to me. It looks like the dinner I have every night of steak and eggs, and it's absolutely delicious. And it's true human food. And you're doing such an amazing job sharing your inspirational message. And I so appreciate you and your work, and for taking the time to be on our show today. Where would you like people to go to find you and connect with you and your work?
Homesick Buckeye, that's my YouTube channel. I am on Instagram at Homesick Buckeye, and I'm on TikTok at homesick.buckeye, but I'm almost never on there. I always say I want to do more things on there, but I never do. Homesick Buckeye is my YouTube channel, and that's where you'll find me. It's all one word. But if you just type it even into the search, just homesick and like the letter B, it pops up. And if you like to laugh and smile, that's what it's there mostly for, and just share my life and the way I go about it. There are haters too. There are people who come on there with snipey comments and feel like I'm leading people down the wrong path by, I mean, I guess they want me to come on there and sob and like break down and just sob and weep when I, eat pizza or something like that. Like I'm just supposed to be so I had a I had a taco last week, just please forgive me. I mean, no. I proudly say, hey, I smashed 6 White Castles, but I didn't drink the large chocolate shake that I normally would have had with it. So it's like I live my life. And some people think that I'm not, I don't know, maybe taking it seriously, or they think I don't tell people to do anything. I tell people what I do.
Yeah.
And I guess some people feel like, oh, well, by saying that you ate pizza and hamburgers, you're telling people to eat that and telling people they can eat that. Well, I can't because I have this and this. Okay, well, then don't.
Then don't.
But I also want to show people that you can still reach your goals. You can still get healthier. You can, still eat Thanksgiving dinner with your family. You can still have an occasional thing that you like and reach your goals and lose your weight and get healthier. I'm going to get some blood work done here next month. I did my blood work in July. I'm going to get my blood work done next week, release the results. Judge me by my results. If you come on my channel a year from now and I'm still 550 pounds, then you can say, yeah, it doesn't work. Stop eating them White Castles. But no, I'm losing weight. I'm feeling great. And what I do, like I said, 10% of the time cannot derail what I do 90% of the time.
That's amazing.
I'm not striving for perfection. I'm striving for progress.
That's amazing. It's an amazing message, and it's so inspirational, and we're just so grateful for you and for putting out that message. So thank you, Russ, so very much for coming on our show today and sharing that inspirational story and a lot of really good practical tips. We're just so looking forward to your content in the future. And thanks again. It was an honor to host you on our show.
No problem, brother. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And this has been another episode of Boundless Body Radio.